The following is a video series reviewing the top 20 most common bird species found in St. Joseph and Elkhart counties of Indiana. The data was gathered from ebird.org, a website used to record bird sightings and observations. The report covers the past 10 years, 2010 to 2020, of observations in St. Joseph and Elkhart counties. It represents the most commonly reported, not necessarily the most abundant. This methodology helps to standardize the data between birds that travel in large groups and those that are more solitary. Coming in at number 12 is the mallard, or the Anis platyrhynchos. The mallard is part of the dabbling duck family. When someone says the word duck, a mallard is often what comes to people's mind here in Indiana. It is one of the most common and very widespread birds across the entire United States. The mallard is a medium-sized, sexually dimorphic dabbling duck. Sexual dimorphism means that the males and females look different. The illustration on the left is the male, which has a streaking green head, yellow bill, white ring around the neck, chestnut brown colored chest, white tannish body, and black and white tail feathers. The female is much more drab looking, with mottled brown feathers all over, a black line through her eye, and a yellowish bill. Both the male and female have a blue patch on their wings called a speculum. It is shown on the illustration on the female. Mallards are typically 19 to 25 inches in length. Here are a few photos of the mallard. Being a dabbling duck, mallards are commonly found in shallow waters, in pairs, or even in large groups. As you can see in the photo, the female commonly blends in with its surroundings, and the male's bright green head and yellow bill stick out. When not in the water, the mallard's legs can be seen, which are bright orange. In non-breeding season, the male mallard often loses its bright green feathers, either partially or almost entirely, as seen in this picture. When in flight, the white outlined blue speculum patch is noticeable in both the male and females, as shown in this photo. Here is a map of the distribution of the mallard. They are found across the entire contiguous United States, Canada, and even Alaska. They are a year-round resident to northern Indiana. Being a duck, mallards live in water habitats like ponds, lakes, rivers, and streams. Since they are fairly tolerant to humans, mallards are commonly found in park ponds, water features, and retention ponds in urban environments. Mallards are often found swimming in the water. As part of the dabbling duck family, mallards will tip forward for several seconds with their tails up in the air as they forage for aquatic vegetation under the water. When not in the water, mallards will rest on the shore, either sitting or standing on the ground or perched on fallen logs or rocks along the shoreline. It is common to see mallards in pairs, one male and one female. However, they often congregate in larger groups too, and often mixed in with other duck species. The female mallard's call is the quintessential quack sound that many people associate with ducks. Let's take a listen to two different recordings of females calling. Here's the first one. And the second one. Rather than quacking, the male's call has a lower, more raspy quality. The mallard is an omnivore, meaning they eat both plants and insects. Being a dabbling duck, mallards tip forward while in the water. This allows them to feed on aquatic vegetation and seeds. While the majority of their diet comes from aquatic plants during breeding season, mallards will also eat insects, earthworms, crustaceans, mollusks, and tadpoles. Are mallards feeder birds? Not really. Since they are an aquatic bird species, the only feeders they might visit would be near a water source. If they visit a feeder, mallards will eat most any type of bird food that is on the ground. Since they are so tolerant to humans, people will sometimes feed mallards bread and other human foods. This is strongly advised against, since those types of foods are not part of the bird's actual diet. The mallard's average clutch size is 1 to 13 eggs. They nest on the ground by digging a small depression into the earth and line it with materials found nearby, like twigs, grasses, and leaves. Of course, this is not a bird that is in major trouble here in Indiana, but let's take a look at its worldwide status. In 2019, the mallard was considered least concern by the IUCN Red List. This means that the species population does not qualify as threatened or endangered. And what about the mallard's vulnerability to climate change? Remember, climate change is the term used to refer to the Earth's average increase in global temperatures in the last 50 years due to human activity. The temperatures rising just slightly, think only a few degrees, can have a massive impact on birds. In 2019, the National Audubon Society released their publication of the Survival by Degrees 389 Bird Species on the Brink, which focused on bird species' risk of extinction due to climate change. Their report found that for northern Indiana, the mallard is considered to be at a low risk of extinction due to climate change. Now let's review some other duck species that are sometimes confused with mallards in our region. Ducks, as well as other water birds, can be challenging to ID due to their often far distance from the shore, or from glare on the water from the sun. However, closer up or with a good pair of binoculars, there are some key differences to look out for in helping you determine which ones are mallards. The wood duck is another common dabbling duck species to our area, mostly abundant in the warmer months. Just like the male mallard, the male wood duck has a green head and a chestnut-colored breast. However, take a look at some of the key differences. The male wood duck's head has a crest. He has an orange eye ring and a shorter and thinner bill, which is often orange during breeding season. The female wood duck is mostly brown all over, similar to the female mallard, but the female wood duck's head also has a crest. She has a white eye ring and again a shorter and thinner bill. If viewing the duck from afar across a lake, it is difficult to make out the coloration on the species. Something else to watch out for is the movement of the head. Wood ducks often jerk their heads forward and back like a pigeon while swimming through the water. Northern shovelers are less common to our area, mostly just migrating through during the spring and the fall, but they can potentially confuse a beginning birder for a mallard. Male northern shovelers have a bright green head similar to the male mallard. However, their bill is much longer and larger and typically black. Also, the shoveler's breast is white with chestnut color on its flanks, which is the opposite of the male's color pattern. Common mergansers are a diving duck that are less common to our area, but the males can potentially confuse a beginning birder for a male mallard. Male common mergansers have a bright green head similar to the male mallard. However, their bill is much longer and more slender than the mallard. Also, common mergansers dive underwater for food as opposed to mallards, which tip forward, dabbling for the food beneath. During the winter months, the American black duck may cause some confusion for birders because of its strikingly similarities in appearance to the female mallard. Both the male and female American black duck have subtle differences which separate them from the female mallard. the mallard's bill tends to be more orange, whereas the American black duck's bill is more of a dull olive color. Overall, the American black duck's body is darker brown when compared to the female mallard. Finally, if possible, look for the speculum. While both species have a blue speculum, the mallard's is outlined in white and the American black duck's is outlined in black. To make matters even more confusing, it is common for the two species to crossbreed, resulting in hybrid ducks. If you are a beginning birder, this is something to keep in mind, but don't agonize over this too much. Most of the time in our region, you will be dealing with mallards, not American black ducks. Finally, gadwalls are a drab brown dabbling duck that frequent our region in the winter months and might confuse a beginning birder for a female mallard. On a gadwall, it is important to look for a dark black bill and dark feathers near the tail end to discern it from a female mallard. Thank you for watching the video on number 12, the mallard, commonly found in St. Joseph and Elkhart counties of Indiana. For more information on other common birds found in this region, please visit SBEAudubon.org. The sources for this video are listed in the video description.